A bus is a set of electrical wires, also lines, is connecting the various hardware components of the computer systems. So it works as a communication pathway through which information flows from one hardware components to the other components. So bus is connecting the components into a system. So why we need the bus? The bus system is made up of different components such as memory, arithmetic, logic unit, registers, etc. So each component should be able to communicate with other for proper execution of instruction and information flow. Uh, if we try to implement a mesh topology among different components, it would be really expensive. So we use a common components to connect each necessary components in a bus. So components of a bus systems we are seeing as data bus, address bus, control bus. So data bus to connecting the it's a components one by one. So data components suggest name suggest a data bus used to training the data and information from CPU to memory input output device vice versa. It is a bidirectional. So the width of a data bus refer to the number of uh, bits at a time. So each line one bit at a time. The number of lines of a data bus determine how many bits can be transferred parallelly. So width of a data is an important parameter because it determines how much data can be transmitted at once. The wider bus width faster would be the data flow on the data bus and thus better would be the system performance. So example 32-bit of wires that can be transmitted 32-bit of data at a time, 64-bit wire transfers 64-bit at a time. So control bus, so name suggested that control bus to transfer the control the timing signals from one components to the other. The CPU controls the bus to communicate with the devices that are connected to the computer systems. The CPU transmits the different type of control signals to the system components. It's a bidirectional. So data control and timing signals are generated by the control unit. The timing signals used to synchronize the memory and input-output operation with the clock, CPU clock cycle. The typical control signals called by the control bus. So it's memory read, write, input output read and input output write. So memory read is a memory address location to place the data. Memory write is a data from a data bus to placed into memory address location. So read data of input output address location placed in a data bus. Data from a data bus is placed in input output location. The other control signals called the control bus to interrupt acknowledge bus request and the bus grant and several others. The type of actions taking place on the system bus is initiated by these control signals. So when the CPU wants to read and write data, it sends the memory read and the memory write control signals to control bus to perform the memory read and write operations of the main memory. The processor wants to read from input output devices, it generated the input output signals, read signals. So address bus as the same suggested address bus is used to carry the address from the CPU to memory input output devices. It's usually identify the particular location of memory. It carries the source and destination address of the data, whether to store and from where to retrieve the data. It is a unidirectional. When the CPU wants to read and write the data, it sends the memory to read and write memory write control signals to control the bus to perform the memory read or write operation from the main memory, and then address of memory location is sent to the address bus. So if the CPU wants to read the store the data in memory location, the CPU sends and the CPU sends the values stored in a binary at the address bus. So width of the address determines the amount of a physical memory address. The other words is determine the size of memory of the computer can use, and wider is used to address bus more memory computers able to use. Addressing capability of this system can be increased by adding the more address lines. So address bus is 16 wires is transfer 16 bit, 64-bit wires transfer the 64-bit addresses. So 2 power 16, 64, 2 power 32, 4G different addresses.